I was lucky because my best friend, who is a traffic policeman, gave me a ticket. I was running late, and I admit I pushed the gas pedal a bit too hard. My mind was on 1,000 things: work deadlines, bills, the errands piling up. The road ahead was clear, so I thought, what's the harm? Then, out of nowhere, the familiar flash of red and blue lights. My heart sank as I pulled over, frustration boiling up as I saw who was getting out of the police car. It was Mike, my best friend since high school. I rolled down the window, expecting him to give me a friendly warning and send me on my way. After all, he knew me well, and he knew I was a careful driver, usually. But Mike just gave me a blank look as he asked for my license and registration. "You were over the limit," he said, his voice as professional and cold as if we were strangers. I forced a smile, hoping he'd let it slide, but he didn't. With a simple nod, he handed me the ticket. My frustration turned to anger. "Really, Mike?" I muttered. "You couldn't just let this one go?" He just looked at me, calm and steady. "Rules are rules," he replied. "For everyone." And with that, he turned and walked back to his car. I drove off, gripping the wheel, fuming at his rigid sense of duty. A friend was supposed to help you out when you needed it, not slap a fine in your hand without a second thought. Hours later, still stewing over it, I left for an appointment. This time, I made sure to drive within the speed limit, the sting of that ticket fresh in my mind. As I was nearing the intersection on the highway, I suddenly saw brake lights flash up ahead, and I slowed down even more. A massive accident had just occurred. Several cars were piled up with debris scattered across the road. The scene was chaotic, and paramedics were rushing people onto stretchers. It hit me then, a sinking realization. If Mike hadn't stopped me earlier, I'd have been speeding right through this very stretch of highway. I could have been right in the middle of that wreck. I pulled over to the side of the road, took a deep breath and picked up my phone. I called Mike. When he answered, I could almost feel his surprise at the silence on my end. Then I managed to say, "Thank you for the ticket. You probably saved my life." Mike didn't say much, but I could hear the relief in his voice.